Hey everyone, I just wanted to hop on here today and try to share some wisdom with you guys. Some things I've learned over the years and some best practices when moving forward and trying to achieve a goal, when trying to better yourself, when trying to improve your circumstances. It's oftentimes the ones around us who will become jealous, who will become hateful, who will become envious. They look at our achievements and our gifts, and for one reason or another, they decide that they're going to hate, that they're going to not love, but try to tear down. It's similar to the analogy of a drowning swimmer. A drowning swimmer oftentimes will try to pull you to the bottom. He'll try to pull you to the bottom of the ocean because he's drowning and you seem like a lifeline. The irony of the situation is that person will end up killing you both. As a man, you have to stand alone. You don't have friends. All you have is frenemies and associates, business partners. But ultimately, you have to work towards a common solution. And if you can't find a common solution that's going to benefit you both, you have to cut ties. Otherwise, you will end up in a parasitical relationship where mutual respect and dignity are not being reciprocated, but you'll end up being used. That's why you have to avoid a large majority of people when you're starting out, because most people at the bottom, which is the majority of people, are struggling. They're struggling to survive. They're struggling to get by. They're struggling to make it. And they will drown you in order to try to save themselves. You need to understand that you cannot save everyone. It is up to each man to provide for himself, to have stability, to bring stability, and to increase the value of himself to a point where he can actually accomplish things that most could only dream of. It's a story as old as time. Cain and Abel. They both offered sacrifices to God, but only Abel's sacrifice was accepted. And because of this, Cain grew very jealous. He grew murderous, hateful, and he slew his brother. So often, I see a lot of people who like to complain. They like to compare themselves to others, to say that their situation is not recoverable, that they can't achieve success, that they can't make it. And while I understand it's hard, these people oftentimes do the very least in trying to better their situation. They do not practice, they do not study, they do not go through the process of trying to refine themselves, of trying to become a better person. That's what life's about. It's about becoming better. It's about sacrificing for God. It's about laying down your ego and admitting when you're inadequate, and filling those inadequacies with purpose. Filling those inadequacies with a sense of drive and hope that you can actually achieve, that you can actually do better, that if you work hard, you will succeed in the end. And that's the hope. That's the American dream. That's the dream that is dying. A lot of these people out here, they don't want to actually take accountability. they think they deserve the big reward for the small sacrifice. And that just cannot be the case. It's always going to be people who sacrifice more who are going to end up reaping more. Whatever you sow, you will reap. Part of that is understanding that there is a delay. There is a time in between where you sow and where you reap. You're not always going to see the immediate effects. You're not always going to see a big leap. It's oftentimes months or years before you see real progress. And that's why so many people are so easily swayed. They're so quick to give up, to say their dreams are not attainable. But they are. They are attainable. Anything that you can dream, you can achieve. With enough effort, with enough work, with enough patience, with enough virtue, everything is possible for those who believe. But yet, we see a large majority of the population in America today who are hopeless and helpless. And we have to understand that we cannot have anything to do with the unfruitfulness and darkness that they have in their heart. Being the light means being the light. It means showing people the way. That sacrifice, that commitment, that duty is important. Not only is it important, it is necessary. You have to understand, a lot of these people in these situations, they do not actually want to see you do better. Because their life is not where they would like it to be, they will try to pull you down. You cannot allow them to pull you down. You have to strike. You have to create distance. You have to let them drown, if need be, because they can't save themselves, and you can't save everyone. Do not try to save everyone, okay? The best you can hope for is to save yourself and maybe a few people around you. But even then, people are inherently driven by selfish ambitions, and they're not likely to see exactly what it is that you see. It's important, whoever you allow in your circle, that they follow your leadership. Not because they have to, but because it's the best thing for them to do. Part of that means inspiring trust, inspiring vision, giving purpose where there was none. You may have to leave family members. You may have to leave people that you really care about behind. And it's unfortunate, because a lot of times people don't want to see the light. They don't want to see the light. And understanding that people are projectors. People are a projection. And people will project their nonsense onto you. And they will try to make you adopt their mindsets, their bad habits, their failures. And you have to reject that. And if that means going alone, completely going alone, then that's exactly what you need to do. People like to complain. They like to say that they're victims, that they don't have a hope, that they, for whatever reason or another, they can't make it. You have to reject that. And if that means rejecting them, then you have to reject them. Because that is a poison. It's a poisonous mindset. And that's what everybody at the bottom is drinking. They're drinking their own poison. Showing people that there's a way out, if they're willing to do the work, is the most important thing we could do for another person. It doesn't mean we need to save them, but it does mean we should show them the light. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. If you don't give up, if you put your head down, if you keep working, and you don't stop, you will eventually succeed. So many people get trapped in a prison of their own mind. And it is a mental prison. Because the words, the thoughts, that we have, they control us. But it's not safe to assume that whatever you're thinking is true. Across different cultures, different religions, people have different beliefs, all that they hold true. So what do we know that is true? Well, what we know is true is that God is the Word. He is the Word made flesh. And if we're dwelling with bad words in our minds, then that's going to manifest into our reality. Whatever words are going on in your head, whatever lies you tell yourself, that's going to manifest. If you play the perpetual victim, that's going to manifest in your reality as you being an actual victim. If you perpetuate a spirit of confidence, of clarity, of vision, then that's going to manifest into your reality. Why? It has no choice to. Because your mental plane is what controls the physical. Your mental plane is what controls the physical. We're in a spiritual battle down here. Not a physical one. A spiritual battle. Every word in the Bible is true. And what happens is that as soon as we receive the word and we receive freedom, the enemy tries to come and snatch it from us. Because he's the enemy. He's the worker of darkness. He is the one who slew his brother. It's that thought that comes to you, that tells you to be envious, that tells you to hate, that tells you to be jealous. It's the thought that tells you that you are doing enough when you're not doing enough, that you are a victim when you're not a victim. It's the thought that tells us that we should kill one another. These aren't our thoughts. These are spiritual entities that are trying to destroy us. I've worked very hard to try to break people free from the mental prison and try to show them the light of Christ. But some people will never see the light of Christ. They will never see the light of Christ because they stay in their ignorance. They live in their darkness. Accepting responsibility for your life and fighting the spiritual war is the battle. It's the one thing that Christians are called to do. And because of that, I understand that there are good people and there are bad people, spiritually speaking. People who sow division, people who sow mistrust, who sow hatred, are going to reap that. They're going to be reaping that destruction. Whenever you try to stand in your authority in Christ, you're going to have a lot of opposition. People are going to say that you don't deserve it, that you didn't work hard enough, or for whatever reason that they're better than you. You need to reject these people. These people are sick people. They're a crooked people. They're a disobedient and disloyal people. Have nothing to do with them. One thing I can say for certain is that the righteous path often does demand that you walk alone. It's not because you're a bad person. It's because people do not want to believe in your vision. They don't want to believe that they may be inferior. That whatever they're doing isn't enough. And what you are doing is. I get so much hate because I don't have to work a 9 to 5, because I retired myself. And that's unfortunate because a lot of people are struggling, and I understand that you're struggling. But taking accountability for your actions and realizing that if you're not where you want to be, it's just because you haven't done the work. There's something that's required that you need to do. If you haven't done it, then don't complain.